There is a quiet strength that many people misunderstand. It is not found in speaking the loudest, proving a point, or winning every argument. True wisdom often reveals itself through restraint. The strongest people are not those who say everything they know. They are those who understand what should remain unspoken. A wise woman recognizes that words have power. Once they leave her mouth, they cannot be taken back. They can build trust or destroy it, create peace or invite chaos, deepen love or slowly poison it. She understands that maturity is not measured by how much she expresses, but by how well she chooses the right moment, the right intention, and sometimes complete silence. In today's world, people are encouraged to reveal every thought, every emotion, and every secret without considering the consequences. But wisdom follows a different path. It teaches that not every truth must be spoken, not every emotion deserves an immediate reaction, and not every piece of knowledge should be shared with everyone. Some things become more valuable when protected. Today's message is not about manipulation or playing games. It is about emotional intelligence, self-respect, and understanding the invisible forces that shape trust, attraction, and lasting relationships. These principles are timeless because they are rooted in human nature rather than passing trends. If you truly want to cultivate inner strength, preserve your dignity, and build relationships founded on respect instead of emotional impulse, stay with me until the end. Together, we will explore the 3 things that a truly wise woman never tells a man, and why mastering this quiet discipline can transform the way you carry yourself in every relationship. One of the greatest signs of wisdom is knowing that vulnerability is valuable, but it is not something to be handed to everyone who asks for it. In a world that constantly encourages people to share everything they feel, everything they have experienced, and every scar they carry, it takes remarkable inner discipline to recognize that not every heart is prepared to hold the weight of your truth. A wise woman understands this difference. She knows that openness without discernment is not courage, it is exposure. She realizes that trust is something that must be built over time through consistency, integrity, and actions, not simply granted because someone expresses interest or affection. Many people confuse honesty with immediate transparency. They believe that if someone truly cares about them, they should reveal every painful memory, every childhood wound, every fear, and every insecurity within a short time. Yet wisdom teaches a different lesson. Trust is not measured by how quickly you reveal yourself. Trust is measured by how carefully someone protects what you choose to reveal. Before opening the deepest chambers of her heart, a wise woman quietly observes. She watches how a person responds to small responsibilities before giving them access to greater ones. Every human being carries invisible battles. Some battles were fought in childhood. Others were created by betrayal, disappointment, rejection, or loss. These experiences shape the way people think, love, and protect themselves. They deserve respect. They deserve careful handling. They are not stories meant for casual conversations with someone who has not yet proven their emotional maturity. Time reveals character more accurately than words ever can. Anyone can promise loyalty. Anyone can claim understanding. Anyone can appear compassionate when everything is easy. But only time exposes consistency. Only repeated actions reveal true intentions. A wise woman understands that emotions can create illusions. Strong attraction can make someone appear trustworthy before they have earned that reputation. This is why patience becomes one of her greatest strengths. She allows people to reveal themselves naturally instead of rushing to reveal herself first. There is an old principle that wisdom protects what is precious until it finds the right place to belong. Your deepest fears, your greatest disappointments, and your most painful memories are among the most precious parts of your emotional life. They are not valuable because they are pleasant. They are valuable because they shape the person you have become. Giving someone immediate access to those places is like handing the keys of your home to a stranger simply because they smiled kindly at the door. Some people genuinely listen to understand, others listen to collect information. At first, these two kinds of people appear almost identical. Both ask questions, both seem interested, both encourage conversation, but their intentions are completely different. One wants to support your healing. The other quietly gathers pieces of your vulnerability that may later become tools for manipulation, criticism, or control. The tragedy is that these differences often become visible only after enough time has passed. A wise woman understands that emotional intimacy is built gradually. She does not feel pressured to explain every chapter of her life during the early stages of knowing someone. She allows conversations to unfold naturally. She shares appropriate experiences while protecting the deepest parts of herself until mutual trust has become undeniable. This is not secrecy born from fear. It is discernment born from experience. Silence is often misunderstood as distance, yet silence can be an expression of wisdom. There are moments when saying less creates more clarity than saying everything. When someone asks deeply personal questions too early, a wise woman does not feel obligated to satisfy every curiosity. She understands that another person's desire to know everything about her does not automatically create the right to know everything about her. Many people reveal their wounds because they hope to be accepted despite them. They fear that if they wait too long, they may appear dishonest. Yet acceptance that depends upon immediate exposure is often fragile. Lasting acceptance grows through shared experiences, consistent respect, and slowly developed understanding. When trust matures naturally, vulnerability becomes a gift instead of a gamble. There is also another reason for protecting emotional wounds. Pain has a powerful influence over perception. When people repeatedly describe their deepest hurts before those wounds have fully healed, they often begin to identify themselves with their suffering. Their story becomes centered around what happened to them instead of who they have become because of it. A wise woman refuses to let pain define her identity. She may acknowledge it when necessary, but she never allows it to become the first thing others know about her. Strength does not require pretending that nothing has ever hurt you. True strength is the ability to carry painful experiences without allowing them to control every conversation. It is possible to have survived betrayal without introducing yourself as someone who was betrayed. It is possible to have experienced heartbreak without allowing heartbreak to become your primary identity. Wisdom understands this distinction. There are individuals who mistake vulnerability for weakness. They interpret openness as permission to cross boundaries. They may begin offering unwanted advice, making subtle judgments, or quietly using personal information during disagreements. What was once shared in confidence becomes a weapon during conflict. This is why discernment protects dignity. A wise woman knows that once words leave her mouth, she cannot decide how another person will use them. Trustworthy people treat another person's vulnerability with reverence. They never exploit it for advantage. They never repeat it carelessly. They never use it to gain emotional superiority. But trustworthy people reveal themselves gradually. Their reliability is demonstrated through countless small moments rather than dramatic declarations. A wise woman pays close attention to these moments. She notices whether someone keeps promises, respects boundaries, speaks kindly about others, and remains consistent when circumstances become difficult. One of the greatest mistakes people make is assuming that chemistry equals compatibility. Emotional excitement can feel powerful, but it cannot replace proven character. Someone may make you laugh, understand your interests, and create intense emotional connection, yet still lack the wisdom required to protect your heart. Character is revealed through patterns, not feelings. Patience allows those patterns to emerge. Another important truth is that vulnerability should always be reciprocal. Healthy relationships grow through mutual trust. One person should not carry the entire emotional burden while the other simply observes. A wise woman notices whether emotional openness flows naturally in both directions. She understands that genuine intimacy is created through balanced exchange rather than one-sided confession. Protecting your deepest vulnerabilities also protects your peace of mind. When you reveal painful experiences prematurely, you often begin worrying about how they will be interpreted. You wonder whether the other person views you differently. You question whether they now see you as broken, weak, or emotionally unstable. These unnecessary anxieties disappear when vulnerability is shared at the proper time with someone who has already demonstrated emotional safety through consistent actions. Emotional wisdom requires recognizing that not everyone deserves unrestricted access to your inner world. Kindness does not require complete exposure. Love does not require abandoning healthy boundaries. Compassion does not require sacrificing discernment. A wise woman can remain warm, authentic, generous, and caring while still protecting the most delicate parts of her heart until trust has been earned through patience, consistency, respect, and unwavering character. A wise woman understands that dreams become stronger when they are protected by action instead of constantly announced through words. In a world where people often feel pressured to broadcast every goal, every ambition, and every future plan, she chooses a different path. She realizes that there is a quiet power in allowing results to introduce her intentions rather than expecting her intentions to impress others. She knows that speaking about every future move can sometimes weaken the very determination needed to accomplish it. Many people mistake talking about success for making progress. They become excited by the idea of what they will do, who they will become, or what they will achieve. They describe every detail with enthusiasm, receiving praise and encouragement before any real work has been completed. For a moment, it feels rewarding. The compliments create the illusion of accomplishment, yet nothing has actually changed. The dream remains exactly where it was before the conversation began. A wise woman recognizes this subtle danger. She understands that words can create temporary satisfaction that replaces the hunger necessary for consistent effort. Every ambitious goal requires discipline, patience, sacrifice, and the willingness to continue when excitement disappears. She refuses to exchange long-term achievement for short-term validation. She also understands that not everyone who asks about her future genuinely wants to see her succeed. Some people ask questions out of curiosity, others ask because they care. But there are also those who quietly compare themselves to others. They measure another person's progress against their own. They smile while secretly hoping that ambitious plans never become reality. Wisdom teaches that it is impossible to know another person's heart immediately, which is why discretion becomes an act of self-respect rather than distrust. When a woman constantly announces every goal, she unintentionally invites unnecessary opinions into her life. Some people will encourage her, others will question her abilities, some will remind her of every past failure, others will predict future disappointment before she has even taken the first step. These voices create mental noise that distracts from what truly matters, the work itself. The mind is deeply influenced by repeated messages. If someone hears enough doubt, criticism, or ridicule, even a confident person can begin questioning herself. A wise woman protects her focus by limiting the number of people who have access to her unfinished plans. She understands that ideas are often fragile in their earliest stages. Like a young tree exposed to powerful winds, a dream needs time to develop strong roots before facing constant external pressure. There is another reason why wisdom values privacy. Plans change. Circumstances evolve. Opportunities appear unexpectedly. Sometimes the direction that once seemed perfect no longer aligns with reality. A wise woman allows herself the freedom to adapt without feeling trapped by public expectations. If everyone already knows every detail of her intended path, changing direction can feel like failure, even when it is actually growth. Flexibility is one of the greatest strengths of intelligent people. They do not become prisoners of promises they made before gaining new knowledge. They understand that maturity sometimes requires adjusting goals rather than stubbornly pursuing outdated ones. Keeping future plans private allows this flexibility without unnecessary explanation. Another important lesson is that actions speak with a clarity words never can. Anyone can describe ambitious intentions. Anyone can promise transformation. Anyone can say they are about to change their life. Yet only consistent action creates visible evidence. A wise woman prefers allowing her discipline to become her introduction. She does not seek admiration for what she hopes to accomplish. She earns respect through what she quietly completes. History is filled with individuals whose greatest achievements were developed in silence. Long before the world celebrated their success, they spent countless hours practicing, studying, failing, improving, and trying again without applause. The audience only appeared after the results became undeniable. This pattern continues in every field of life because excellence is rarely created through public announcements. It is created through private commitment. Silence also protects energy. Every conversation requires emotional investment. Explaining goals repeatedly, answering questions, defending choices, and responding to opinions consumes mental strength that could have been directed toward meaningful progress. A wise woman carefully guards her attention because she knows that attention is one of the most valuable resources she possesses. Where attention goes, growth follows. There's also wisdom in understanding human nature. When people know every detail of your future plans, they often begin measuring your progress according to their own expectations. If success takes longer than anticipated, questions arise. If obstacles appear, criticism follows. If priorities shift, misunderstandings develop. None of these reactions contribute to the achievement itself. They merely create additional emotional burdens. A wise woman refuses to place herself under unnecessary observation. She understands that genuine growth often requires periods of quiet development. Just as seeds grow beneath the soil long before anyone sees the first green leaf, meaningful transformation frequently occurs where no one is watching. Invisible progress is still progress. She also understands that confidence does not require public recognition. Insecure people often seek constant reassurance that they are moving in the right direction. They depend upon applause to maintain motivation. But confidence rooted in wisdom grows differently. It comes from keeping promises made to oneself. Every completed task strengthens inner trust. Every disciplined action becomes evidence that personal commitment matters more than external approval. There is a remarkable freedom in no longer feeling obligated to explain yourself. A wise woman does not spend her life convincing others that her dreams are worthwhile. She knows their value because she has reflected upon them carefully. She understands that people who truly matter will recognize her growth without requiring constant updates. Those who only believe after seeing results were never the source of her motivation in the first place. Another important reason for protecting future plans is that unexpected obstacles are inevitable. Every meaningful pursuit includes setbacks, delays, disappointments, and moments of uncertainty. When too many people already know the destination, each obstacle becomes a public discussion instead of a private lesson. A wise woman prefers learning quietly rather than performing resilience for an audience. She accepts that failure is sometimes necessary. She understands that mistakes are teachers rather than enemies. Keeping future ambitions private allows her to experiment without the pressure of protecting an image. She is free to fail, adjust, learn, and continue moving forward without allowing temporary setbacks to become public definitions of her character. This quiet approach also reveals who genuinely supports her. People who value her will celebrate her accomplishments regardless of when they discover them. They will admire the discipline that produced the results rather than feeling offended they were not informed in advance. Those who demand constant access to every plan often confuse closeness with entitlement. A wise woman recognizes the difference. She understands that privacy is not secrecy born from fear. Privacy is simply healthy stewardship of what has not yet matured. There is a difference between hiding because of insecurity and protecting because of wisdom. One is motivated by anxiety. The other is motivated by clarity. As her life unfolds, her achievements begin speaking louder than any announcement ever could. Promotions arrive without dramatic declarations. Personal growth becomes visible without lengthy explanations. New opportunities appear because consistent effort created them rather than because impressive promises attracted attention. People begin asking how she accomplished so much, never realizing that much of her success was built during seasons, when she spoke very little about where she was going, choosing instead to let every disciplined step carry her quietly toward the future she had envisioned. A wise woman understands that every human being has weaknesses, insecurities, and moments of self-doubt. She does not pretend to be perfect, nor does she believe that strength means never struggling. True wisdom lies in recognizing the difference between honest vulnerability and careless exposure. There are parts of the human heart that deserve protection until another person has consistently demonstrated loyalty, emotional maturity, and respect. She knows that not everyone who asks personal questions has earned the privilege of hearing deeply personal answers. Modern culture often sends the message that complete transparency is always healthy. People are encouraged to speak every insecurity aloud, believing that constant self-disclosure creates authenticity. While honesty is important, wisdom reminds us that timing and discernment matter just as much. A wise woman does not feel pressure to reveal every fear simply because someone is curious. She understands that privacy is not deception. It is a boundary that protects emotional well-being. Every person carries private battles that others cannot see. Some struggle with feelings of inadequacy. Others question their appearance, their abilities, their intelligence, or their worth. These thoughts may arise during difficult seasons, but they are not permanent truths. A wise woman refuses to let temporary emotions become permanent labels. She does not repeatedly introduce herself through the language of limitation. Instead, she quietly works on strengthening the areas where she feels uncertain. There is great power in the stories people tell themselves. If someone constantly repeats, "I am not good enough," "I always fail," or "I can never succeed," those words slowly begin shaping their identity. The mind listens to what the mouth repeatedly declares. A wise woman is careful with her language because she understands that words influence both the speaker and the listener. She refuses to reinforce her insecurities by giving them constant attention. This does not mean she ignores her weaknesses. On the contrary, she acknowledges them honestly. But she chooses to confront them through growth instead of broadcasting them to everyone around her. If she lacks confidence in a certain skill, she studies. If she feels emotionally fragile, she seeks healing. If she notices unhealthy patterns within herself, she works patiently to change them. Improvement becomes her response rather than public confession. Another important truth is that not everyone interprets vulnerability with compassion. Some people genuinely care. They listen with empathy and respond with encouragement. Others quietly collect information that can later be used during disagreements or moments of conflict. Human nature is complex. Kindness cannot always be identified immediately. A wise woman understands this reality without becoming cynical. She simply becomes discerning. Relationships reveal character over time. In the beginning, many people appear patient, understanding, and supportive. But challenges expose deeper qualities. During conflict, disappointment, or frustration, true character becomes visible. Someone who once seemed trustworthy may suddenly use another person's insecurities as weapons during an argument. Words spoken in confidence become tools for humiliation. Painful memories become points of attack. A wise woman understands that once deeply personal information is shared, it can never truly be taken back. This awareness does not make her fearful of relationships. Instead, it teaches her patience. She allows trust to develop naturally. She watches how someone treats other people before deciding how much access they deserve to her inner world. If they gossip about friends, ridicule former partners, or mock the weaknesses of others, she quietly recognizes that one day they may treat her the same way. Actions reveal future behavior more accurately than promises ever will. Self-respect also influences what a wise woman chooses to reveal. She understands that constantly emphasizing her flaws encourages others to focus on them as well. People often learn how to see us by observing how we describe ourselves. If someone repeatedly apologizes for who they are, minimizes their value, or highlights every insecurity, others may unconsciously begin adopting the same perspective. Confidence is not created by convincing everyone else that you are extraordinary. Confidence grows from accepting yourself honestly while continuing to improve. A wise woman does not spend her energy criticizing herself in front of others. She neither exaggerates her strengths nor magnifies her weaknesses. She maintains balance. She acknowledges areas where growth is needed without allowing them to define her entire identity. Another reason she protects her insecurities is that emotions are temporary. Everyone experiences days of doubt. Stress, exhaustion, disappointment, and uncertainty can temporarily distort perception. During these moments, people often say things about themselves that are far harsher than reality. If every passing insecurity is immediately spoken aloud, temporary emotions begin shaping long-term relationships. A wise woman waits. She allows emotions to settle before deciding whether those feelings deserve expression. Silence during emotional storms is often an act of wisdom. It creates space for reflection instead of reaction. Many fears disappear once clarity returns. What seemed overwhelming yesterday may appear much smaller after rest, prayer, meditation, or thoughtful reflection. She understands that not every feeling requires immediate expression. Some emotions simply require patient observation until they lose their intensity. This principle also protects personal dignity. Dignity is not pride. Dignity is the quiet understanding that your worth does not disappear because you experience weakness. A wise woman refuses to seek validation by constantly asking others to reassure her. She values encouragement, but she does not become dependent upon it. Her deepest confidence is built from the promises she keeps to herself, the habits she develops, and the integrity she practices when no one is watching. She also recognizes the difference between seeking guidance and seeking sympathy. When she needs advice, she turns to people who have demonstrated wisdom, discretion, and genuine concern. She does not consult every opinion available. She understands that too many voices create confusion. A single trustworthy mentor often provides greater clarity than dozens of casual conversations filled with conflicting perspectives. Healthy relationships naturally create opportunities for deeper honesty over time. As loyalty proves itself through consistency, emotional safety increases. A wise woman becomes more open when trust has been earned. She understands that intimacy grows gradually, not instantly. Every layer of honesty is supported by another layer of proven respect. In this way, vulnerability becomes a gift exchanged between two mature people rather than an emotional risk taken too early. She also remembers that everyone is carrying invisible burdens. Because of this awareness, she treats the weaknesses of others with compassion instead of judgment. She never mocks another person's insecurity simply because she has learned to protect her own. Her wisdom makes her gentle, not arrogant. She understands that emotional strength is measured not by the absence of weakness, but by the ability to handle weakness with grace, patience, and responsibility. Over time, people begin noticing something different about her presence. She speaks with confidence without seeking attention. She listens more than she boasts. She carries herself with quiet assurance because her identity is no longer dependent upon the opinions of others. She no longer feels compelled to explain every fear, justify every decision, or reveal every private struggle. Instead, she allows her character, consistency, emotional discipline, and steady growth to communicate far more than constant self-disclosure ever could, preserving both her inner peace and her self-respect through thoughtful restraint and unwavering wisdom. Wisdom is rarely loud. It does not seek attention, applause, or constant validation. It reveals itself in the quiet decisions that no one else notices, the words you choose not to speak, the emotions you choose to master, and the boundaries you choose to protect. A truly wise woman understands that her value is not measured by how much she reveals, but by how thoughtfully she carries herself through every conversation and every relationship. Remember, protecting your deepest vulnerabilities is not about building walls. It is about allowing trust to earn access. Keeping your future plans private is not about secrecy. It is about giving your dreams the space to grow without unnecessary interference. Guarding your insecurities is not about pretending to be perfect. It is about refusing to let temporary weaknesses become permanent labels or giving them to those who have not proven they can be trusted with them. When you begin practicing these principles, you stop reacting to every situation emotionally and start responding with intention. You become calmer, more confident, and more difficult to manipulate because your peace no longer depends on other people's opinions. Your presence begins to carry a quiet strength that cannot be faked, a strength built on patience, self-respect, and discipline. Take a moment to reflect on your own life. Are there words you have spoken too quickly? Have you shared parts of yourself before trust was truly earned? Have you sought validation when silence would have served you better? Every day offers a new opportunity to grow wiser than the day before. If this message spoke to you, share your thoughts in the comments below. Which of these 3 lessons challenged you the most, and why? Your perspective may encourage someone else on their own journey toward greater wisdom and inner strength. If you found value in this speech, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss future messages on wisdom, discipline, and personal growth. Until next time, protect your peace, guard your character, and let your actions speak louder than your words.